All right. Um, let's talk about the end of Oak Street. This is an interesting movie I was really excited about because this movie is a movie with starring Anna Hathaway, Ewan McGregor, and their basically neighbor gets transported in time, and so now they have dinosaurs in their neighbor, and they're running from them, and that's kind of them trying to survive. This movie looked really good, and I was disappointed. I will explain why, and this is why this review has to be a spoiler review because my issues with this movie I can't really talk about without spoilers. So I'll do my positives first, and then we'll wrap it around with the negatives, but they're spoilery. So my problem with this movie is, my positives with this movie, sorry, is uh, the atmosphere of the 80s that they recreate in the beginning of showing like this peaceful neighborhood, family connecting. And then as the movie goes on, you see a lot of that kind of fall apart and then learn to survive together as a family. And the way they show like the realistic nature of that, they're like, is this just our lives now? How do we go about food? And then the divorce situation mixed in there with Ewan McGregor. Anne Hathaway's character was gave it some nice character drama and kind of emotion to it and the family nature aspect of it. Now I feel like each kid also got enough character uh, spotlight to where I can't say they're like the most fleshed out characters, but they had enough about them and you understood a lot of the things that they were doing and where they were coming from that it made it work enough. And I think also, for the most part, again, we'll get into my negatives, while they don't explain the sci fi concept really well and they just kind of let it do its own thing, and, and I think that works because that way you're not thinking about that the whole movie. You are just trying to focus on the dinosaur survival aspect, which some of those dinosaur kills are pretty brutal and pretty gnarly. So yeah, I liked all that stuff, and I think overall this is a good movie that you should watch. I think absolutely very enjoyable movie. It's about an 8 out of 10 movie. This movie was so close to being a 10 out of 10, but there are two things that aggravated the shit out of me. Spoiler time. You've been warned. This movie has this kid's dog in this movie. And this dog pisses me off, okay? Because you got this dog who's not tied, he's tied up very loosely in the backyard. And he disappears for a long portion of the movie, so you start to wonder if he's dead. And at a certain point, I just kind of understood, like, okay, the dog's not dead. Because they keep bringing this dog up enough in the movie. The kid actually sees him at a certain point later in the movie, so you understand, okay, the dog's not dead. But like the dog comes in to save him, and you're like, fool, how is this dog not dead? Because the people are smart enough to like hide and do stuff, but this dog, we never get any explanation what it was doing, but it was just like out in the open, probably. So, some fucking dinosaur could have ate it. I mean, they have like flying dinosaurs around. I do think, though, part of the prehistoric aspect that kind of like was a little goofy, but you just kind of run with it because the rest of the movie works so well, is that like Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor and other characters kind of walk around during the daylight, and you're like, fool, aren't there like flying dinosaurs wandering around and shit? Like, how are you guys good? But it works fine enough. But I think the dog thing, you're like, no, 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 that dog would have died, and it's kind of ridiculous that he didn't die. And you might be saying, well, that's kind of harsh. You wanted the dog to die. Well, here's the I don't think the dog should have been in the movie. Like, there's a human character that they meet up later with in the movie. And I'm like, well, if that human character that they had met up with later in that movie took the role of the dog, like maybe like the younger brother like saw that girl out there and he's like, oh, I gotta go help her, and then that's the reason he leaves the house. I'm like, okay, fine. But because that way it's less unbelievable that this dog somehow magically survived for no fucking reason. The dog doesn't have to be a part of the movie. I know that sounds like a nitpicky thing, but it just took me out of the rest of the movie when the dog thing. But really, my biggest issue with this movie is I don't understand the ending of this movie. Basically, the way to explain it is it's a wormhole in time. Okay, so their neighbor gets transported to prehistoric past, and they jump through a little portal to get to right before what happened to their neighborhood happened, and Ewan McGregor's character died. He got eaten by a dinosaur, and so I was like, wow, that's a ballsy move, killing off the dad. That's pretty crazy. But turns out they didn't kill off the dad, because what they do is they go back to like 30 minutes before the dad 30 minutes before the dinosaur thing happened to her neighborhood, and so they meet up with the dad from the past. But my thing is like, how does that make sense? Because what it seems like is, okay, now you're stealing their dad from the family in the present, so now they're just without a dad. So like, that's really mean and fucked up. Same thing with the girl in this movie, because you're like, she goes back to her family that died, but if like you go back to your family that died, you're now taking it away from the other family. Like, it doesn't make any sense based on the rules that the movie had set up. And so like, they're all like living fine and cool, and I feel like, what? Like, there was a rumor going around this movie about it being a Cloverfield tie-in movie, and you're like, see, if that was the twist at the end of the movie and that explained the logic of the movie, I don't think it would have been great, but at least it would have made more sense than this. Because they set up this weird like time thing, like, what? Because otherwise, how do you explain that Ewan McGregor is alive in that scene, right? How do you explain that girl's family's alive in that scene? At the end, like, it just doesn't. It just completely destroys the movie for me. It felt like this movie was trying to make bold choices with certain things, and then it wouldn't commit. It didn't want to commit to the dog being dead. Didn't want to commit to the dad being dead. Didn't want to commit to that one girl losing her family. So instead, you get this weird kind of half-shoot ending where, I don't know. And this movie did have reshoots apparently, and I'm guessing that's what the reshoots were. They were to make it more of a happy ending where everybody lives while leaving room to explore what happened in the neighborhood further, I guess, if this movie makes enough money. But I don't feel like it worked at all, and it kind of just pissed me off. So, do I recommend you see this movie? Yeah, it's still good, but I don't think people will be as angry as I am with those little things. They are kind of nitpicky things. I don't think the rules of the timeline thing aren't as nitpicky, though, because it kind of just hurts my mind to think about, why the fuck would you do that? I don't know.